Welcome back to the bonus episode of Let's Play Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So, seeing as we've finished the whole game with a 200.6% save file, we now have a clear game save. Notice how it says clear there. Because we now have this in our memory card, or effectively in our system, if you notice up there, it just said something. Input the name Richter to play as Richter Belmont. So, for the first thing I want to show, it's of course going to be Richter mode. So, let's do it. You start the game off as Richter Belmont. Now, you can't pause the game to look at your stats. You can just pause, and that's all there is to it. He otherwise plays identically to the intro. You can do all of his special moves, from the dive kick to the uppercut there. You can even do his, his nice little dash move. I'm not very good at doing it, nor am I very good at playing as Richter. But you can play the entire game as him. That's including the inverted castle. You can fight every single boss as him, and you can, fight Dracula. You can play almost the entire game. I say almost the entire game. You can play the entire game as Richter. So, that's a really awesome new game mode. But it's not the only one. The other one I wish to show off. If we enter the name Axe Armor and start the game, we will now get through the intro as Richter, which I want to show something off very special. Because we can now play as Richter and skip cutscenes, we can now do the intro incredibly fast. If we do it fast enough, under a minute, we will get a huge stat bonus for Alucard. So it's very worth trying to do this. Perfect. Get all that extra bonus damage. Now, I may have done this a little too slow, but we should be good. Hopefully. So yeah, you can beat him incredibly quickly now because you can skip every single cutscene of the game, which is really good, including the opening scroll. And now when we start as Alucard, if you notice, our HP is 80, which is much higher than it otherwise would have been. He starts with normally about 70, can go up to 75, or up to 80. And if you notice, all of his stats are much higher than they were because we beat the game, beat the intro so quickly. Now, otherwise, because we input Axe Armor, you start with the Axe Lord Armor. What? This turns you into the Axe Knight, which, as you can see, is, it's the Axe Armor. It basically does what you think it does. Now, interestingly, I want to say you can play pretty much the whole game as this. It's not incredibly efficient, but, well, if you're really dedicated, you can equip it, unequip it, do all the movement things you need, and then otherwise just play like this. It's alright. I think getting knocked on your butt a million times would be annoying, but, is what it is. So yeah, Axe Armor mode, pretty cool. It's not the main thing I want to show off, though. It's one of 3 different modes that I think is pretty cool. But the actual mode I really want to show off is what is, I believe, technically known as Thief mode, though most people refer to it as Luck mode. On the name selection, you want to input a very weird name. X dash X exclamation mark V apostrophe followed by a Q. Once you input that, you'll do the normal bloodline stage as Richter, as per usual. And for some fun, I want to show what's up here because I never did. Should you come up here as Richter, there's actually a fun little secret. There are all these items. Firebrand, the Dark Shield, the Betel Air, the Moon Rod. Whoopsies. If I don't fall as Richter, a Heart Refresher, the Shield Rod, sunglasses, the Power of Sire, all sorts of goodies. Things that Richter can't use, but you obviously can collect throughout the game. Some of those things we never did find, like the Dark Shield. It's not really a big deal that we never did. Same with the Medusa Shield. It's probably just hidden in a wall or from a boss fight or a rare drop or something. But point is, doesn't matter too much. But I figured it'd be a fun little thing to show off. Otherwise, we'll fight good old Dracula as normal. Now, because we went out of our way to get all those things, Alucard's stats aren't going to be very improved, but because we input the luck mode code, his stats won't be affected anyways, so it really doesn't matter that we input the, or that we took our time, which is why I wanted to show it off. So, what happens when you choose luck mode and you start the game as normal? Well, you might immediately notice that you have 25 HP and 5 hearts. This might seem a bit concerning, and it is, because in luck mode, Alucard starts with basically 0 stats except for 99 luck plus 20, because he comes equipped with the Lapis Lazuli, which increases his luck by 20. That's why this is known as luck mode. Now, there's one other really big thing I want to show off with luck mode. With luck mode, you have such low stats that these warg enemies can do what is known as a big knockback to you. This has some perks to it. Namely, just to be safe, I want to try to get a little bit of HP and make sure we can tank a hit from one of the wargs. Basically, in order for a big knockback to happen, what you need to do is lose over half of your maximum health in one attack. Now that's a lot, to be honest. And because we start with such reduced stats, we really don't have the MP to do anything like Dark Metamorphosis. So I like to do a little level grinding here in the beginning until we can effectively use Dark Metamorphosis. Because I would like to make sure we're at max HP here. Perfect. And now we should be more or less good to go. And now what you want to do is get all the way to the end of this hall here. You can kill most of the wargs. And see, he does 1 damage. Nothing too crazy. But that's because we have all of our armor on. Let's jump over this one. And unequip the Alucard sword, the shield, the helmet, the mail, and I believe the Twilight Cloak. And then wait for him to jump into you. Oh, he did exactly enough damage. Gosh darn it, I needed 1 more health. Alright, I'll be back once I don't mess it up. Ugh. Alright, so now, once you're ready, jump as he's about to hit you, and you'll fly past death. So, if you notice, I can't open the start menu at all. I have nothing equipped. So, what we now need to do, because we have skipped death, and his music is going to keep playing, don't worry about that, we need to get to a save point without dying. So, play it very safe. And because we start with very reduced stats, it's gonna take some whooping. But once you've done everything I've shown you, and you've made your way to a save point, you can save the game, heal up, and then, now that we've saved the game, you can open your menu. And you can keep all of the starting gear. Meaning, you can now play the entirety of Castlevania Symphony of the Night with all of the starting Alucard gear and 99 luck plus 20. So although your starting stats are going to be pretty much terrible, you can go through the whole game like this with incredible luck and pretty much the best gear in the game. For reference, let's show you what the first boss looks like with a pretty much unnerfed Alucard. Because sure, his starting stats may be a little lower than they should be, right? Fair enough. So you might be wondering, well, there's no way he could do that much damage. Well, you'd be surprised. Alucard here does some work. He pretty much will one-shot any enemy in the early game reliably. And though I'm not really going out of my way to pick up any items or sub-weapons, you seriously just don't need them. HP increases might be nice, sure. And if you are playing the game on a repeat playthrough, you probably do want them. But for the sake of me just demonstrating how powerful and fun this is, it's really cool. And this isn't something that you're supposed to be able to do, right? Like, you're not supposed to be able to skip death and keep all of Alucard's equipment, but you can. So, if you've never played the game with his starting stuff like this, give it a shot. It is incredibly fun. And so he's already dead. And yeah, there's the first boss, dead within seconds. This version of Alucard, the one who didn't get all of his stuff stolen by death, is incredible. I mean, seriously. It is just a fun power trip that, since you've already beaten the game, why not treat yourself the next time you play to being this almighty Alucard with all of his gear that he starts with. It's really cool, and I love that you can do this. Again, you're not intended to be able to do it, but man, is it fun. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, right? What happens if you start the game and you lose the opening fight as Richter? Well, why don't we show that? So here we are, back again as Richter. It really doesn't matter what we grab, because we're kind of just here to die anyways. So, hey Dracula, how's it going, my main man? Now for the sake of speeding things up, I'll grab Hydro Storm just to get to the second phase a little quicker. So let's use it. Purposefully damage ourselves on Dracula here. And now that he's big, let's just basically kill ourselves on him. Perfect. And oh no, we're about to lose! This is terrible. Oh! And so, Maria comes and powers Richter up, which makes him completely invincible. This is so that way you cannot lose the opening fight. It also shows you who Maria is. So, pretty cool. Now, there's one other little secret with Richter that you may not know. Should you play either as Richter, or just do the intro stage because it's a lot quicker for me to show off, if you don't have a sub-weapon equipped with Richter, and you press up on the, or hold up on the stick and try to use your sub-weapon, and press Y, he boosts himself and gets the Flaming Whip. Basically, straight out of Castlevania 2, which is awesome. It does some sick damage. So, I'll try to show it off a little, but that's pretty much every little secret there is that I know of. Now, there are all sorts of different glitches that you can perform. There's even a way to break out of bounds and get, pretty much infinite map percentage. So, if you want to do that, feel free to look it up. It's involving an item known as the duplicator, which the librarian sells once you have a clear game. This item is 500,000 gold, and it's an accessory, so you can equip 2 of them. The whole idea of the item is that it reduces all of your stats for the trade-off of being able to use any usable item an infinite number of times. With the item duplicator, you are able to use the heart refresh infinitely. And because of this, you can basically cause some number trickery, basically, and you can glitch yourself out of the map with it. This is not intended, but it can allow you to get infinite map percent. So it's a pretty cool thing that, although I don't know how to do, I know exists, and I still wanted to bring it up while I fight Dracula very poorly. Overall, that's pretty much everything that I know about the game. Now granted, there are a couple other little things too. This game has multiple different versions, from the PlayStation version to the Sega Saturn version, to even an unlockable version on the PlayStation Portable through a remake of Rondo of Blood. That's insane, isn't it? Still, if you're ever curious, maybe go give those other versions a look, because they do differ. Some of the different versions have different voice acting, different items, even different familiars. I want to say the Japanese versions of the game have, I want to say like a sprite, a goblin, or I think it's a, what's it called? A Tengu. So there's a bunch of differences between all the versions of this game. And so, really, depending on what you want to play or what you're after, you might be able to see some other things. An interesting bit of trivia, too, is that the Sega Saturn version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night had a cut area that you can actually use the heart refresher glitch to get into and see a bit. It's unfinished, so you can't really do much or really explore it, but you can at least see where it would have been. So, that's pretty cool. Overall, thank you, Dracula, for screaming into our ear. Symphony of the Night has some pretty awesome stuff. From all the different versions, to all the tips and tricks you can do, to even some of the glitches you can perform. Like the luck glitch that I showed, there's a lot here. Sure, you gotta beat the game, but you don't have to 206% it in order to, do any of that. I guess I should say 200.6% it, but semantics. Now, you might be wondering, this game has achievements. What are they? Well, they're all pretty straightforward. Complete the game at 200.6%. Defeat 10 consecutive enemies using only magic without getting hit. Unlock, cast all 8 of Alucard's spells. Collect a bank of over $100,000. Defeat 10 consecutive enemies using special weapons without getting hit. Collect all 5 familiars in the game. Unlock the Inverted Castle. Obtain the Batwolf and Mist transformations. Defeat Gaibon and Slogra, the first bosses. Defeat 10 consecutive enemies using standard weapons without getting hit. Defeat Dracula in the Bloodline stage without getting hit. And then one that I haven't done yet, finish the game, including the Inverted Castle, as Richter. Pretty simple. So this game isn't all that hard to 100% if you're trying to get all the achievements specifically. So if you're looking for just a good game to really jam on in a day, I mean, you can beat this in what? Maybe like 5-6 hours, maybe 8 or 7 if you've never played the game and don't know what you're doing. I mean, seriously, it's a really fun game, that I think is pretty accessible to everyone. Because it's on most modern platforms, barring Steam or PC to any extent. But if you have an Xbox or PlayStation, you should be able to play this game just by looking it up on the store and buying it. Usually it's about $10, $15, something like that. So it's not bad. Otherwise, if you're a retro gamer, kind of like me, you can get a PlayStation and the actual disc for about, I don't know, like 40, 50 bucks, kind of depending on where you look. So if you want the original, go crazy. Like I said, it has a different outro song, or a credit song, I should say, and it has some other, I think, FMV cutscenes. So, pretty cool. Otherwise, that's pretty much everything for Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'm Brad. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.